Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and boy, we've got some great news. It's finally happened. CG fooled us. They fooled me too. I thought Commander Luke would go with the old tradition that he'd be in his Hoth Rebel gear, because that's what he is known as in the movies, and that's how Lucas originally called that character, was Commander Luke. You know, if you had a look at the Hot Toys, the figures, they were called Commander Luke when he was in the snow outfit. But no, we've got Bespin Luke, guys. We're gonna get Bespin Luke. Oh my god, I've been waiting such a long time for this moment. So if you're watching my channel for the very first time and haven't been following it, it's been a very long time I've been asking for a Jedi Luke or Luke Skywalker with a lightsaber, and I was like, a little bit like, what, we're gonna get Snowsuit Luke, Commander Luke? And then bam, this was such a big surprise for me. It's kind of like a Christmas Day moment when you kind of expect something and you get something so much better. And from my experience with the game, this isn't something that happens on a regular basis where you get that oh my god moment or that big surprise. Normally a lot of this can predict, and I was definitely going with the Hoth Luke. I thought, you know, with territory battles come in, his name of Commander Luke, CG have done a very good job to keep this under wraps and even fool the Smithie D. But like a lot of us, I did predict the hero's journey and Old Ben being some use and R2-D2. I didn't think they would go there with Raid Han because he's locked behind a Rancor that can take many months. You know, R2-D2 is definitely doable for the free-to-play to kind of obtain at 7 stars. And Old Ben, hopefully we're going to get some double drops because they're going to be the requirements with Leia as well and Stormtrooper Han. So I can probably foresee that we're going to possibly get some double drops, and maybe, just maybe, their shards will put into the shard shop as kind of like a one-off to this event. I think it's quite a big possibility that they could go into the shard shop, as at the moment it is quite vacant, and Fulcrum Ahsoka is probably about 2 to 3 weeks or even more away from hitting that area. So it's definitely something that CG could do if they wanted to put them in there. So my advice for now is, if you're not currently using that kind of arena, you know, currency, or that Cantina currency or Galactic War, I would definitely hold on to that to see what happens and then make a decision if you're going to grab Old Ben or whoever you need from that area. That's if they do. And there's also the big possibility, like they have previously with the double drops, of them coming for those Cantina nodes. So I definitely would work on those characters. If you've got R2 at 7 star, I would work on them straight away. You know, you've got a few days until the R2 event finishes, so you may, just may be able to get R2-D2 at 7 star, but definitely plan your resources and make sure that you've got at least R2-D2 at 7 star, or he's doable, because if you cannot get him, then it's probably going to cause you issues of if you go all out on Old Ben, because we don't know when this event is going to actually return. It could fall into the same as the Legends events, and it could be 3 to 4 months. Who knows? Only CG actually know the answer to that question. I know a lot of you guys out there have been asking on the forums, when will it return? And we haven't got an answer as of yet. I'm sure that most of you are already aware that we're going to need to have the 7-star characters of R2-D2, Fanboy Luke, Old Ben, Leia, and Stormtrooper Han to do this event. Luke will only unlock at 7 stars, so there's none of this 5-star Luke, 6-star Luke. He will only be able to be unlocked at 7 star. I'm sure that most of you guys are already aware Commander Luke only unlocks at 7 stars, and you need to have 7-star characters to unlock him, and you would need to have Old Ben Kenobi, Fanboy Luke, Leia, Stormtrooper Han, and R2-D2. I have no doubt that Luke is going to be a powerful character in a lot of areas of the game, but there's definitely going to be counters to him in the form of Grand Moff Tarkin that he can then put the debuffs on the rebel characters. We're talking Death Trooper, so you're not going to be all alone. You can still build a squad that is definitely going to help you defend and beat these teams. I have no doubt that Luke will be a very powerful character. We're going to have a look at his kit in a moment. I'm not going to go over everything in the update. I just really want to focus on his kit and speculate on where we could put him, what he's going to do. But definitely, you know, if you are building some Empire teams, then go after Tarkin. You know, Tarkin's going to be great against these rebel teams if they all do pop up in the arena. You've also got Death Trooper as well. There is lots that you could do to kind of counteract this. You've still got Thrawn, so if you are working towards Thrawn, his event probably is going to come back before the next time Luke events come back. So you've got to plan your resources efficiently to make sure that you're not just going out for a character, then it pops up again that Thrawn's back and you haven't got your Phoenix ready. So make sure that you kind of plan out what you're doing. So I seen this all last night, and hopefully I can still keep this excitement in this video and share it with you guys. So his basic attack is called Destined Strike. It looks pretty decent, it looks like it hits hard, but let's have a look at the description. It deals physical damage to the target enemy, inflicts speed down and defense down for 2 turns. If the target already has speed down, it removes 30% turn meter. If the target already had defense down, it inflicts stun for 1 turn. This is powerful, you know, this is kind of like what Thrawn's got on his, but it's removing turn meter on the basic, so he's definitely going to be great for the Rancor on his basic alone, so you'll be able to get more worth throughout the arena, and what we're talking there is the Rancor as well. So he removes turn meter, which on his basic, you know, he puts speed down, he also inflicts, you know, defense down. That's everything you need as a starting point for a good Rancor team. His first special attack is called Use the Force, where it deals physical damage to the target enemy, dispels all debuffs on them, removes 100% turn meter, and inflicts buff immunity and tenacity down for 2 turns, and it reduces the cooldown of this ability by 1 if the target didn't have full health. That's again a great move. So that's pretty much going to deal with the general Kenobis in the arena, that you're going to be able to put that buff immunity, put some tenacity down on the characters, and again it can be used in the Rancor where it's going to remove 100% turn meter. These moves so far are great and I am loving it. His special ability, Call to Action, dispels all debuffs on Luke. Luke gains 100% turn meter and recovers 40% health and 40% protection. If Luke doesn't have the Call to Action unique buff, he gains it until the next time this ability is used, and it has a 4-turn cooldown. What Call of Action does, Luke ignores taunts during his turn and has a plus 50% accuracy, plus 50% critical chance, and plus 50% critical damage, and this cannot be dispelled or prevented. Wow, that sounds amazing, just for a character to be able to dispel their own buffs, but instead of it just being waste under the AI kind of control, what we're seeing with kind of like Thrawn and his leadership, he's going to gain 100% turn meter from it. So if it is slightly a waste in battle, it's not going to be a waste anymore, if that makes sense. And yeah, wow. I'm stoked for this. This kit looks amazing, and we've got more as well. His leader ability, Rebel Maneuvers. Rebel allies have a plus 50% counter chance, plus 50% defense, and a plus 15% offense. Whenever an enemy resists a detrimental effect, Rebel allies gain 5% turn meter. So this leader ability is going to be great against those kind of teams that put tenacity up, like your Yodas and your Rex teams, because you're kind of gaining stuff on the inside. And it was actually confirmed as well that if a character, which we'll go on to later, that resists it, it's going to be per character that resists. So if you use an AoE kind of like detrimental effect, like with Old Ben for example, you could potentially be getting 25% turn meter for your entire Rebel team upwards, you know, depending on how many buffs got resisted. And we all know with tenacity up that it resists it, so this will definitely play some part into the leadership that Luke's going to bring. But who knows, we may not be using him as a leader. What we could maybe see is some using him with a Rex lead. I think he's going to be one of them characters that probably could go anywhere, and he's going to do a great job. Love to know what his health is, love to know what his protection is, and I would also love to know what speed he's got, so we can have a good kind of like chinwag of what Luke could do. But we're going to move on to his unique ability, Learn Control. While Luke doesn't have the call to action, he has a plus 50% counter chance and a plus 50% critical avoidance, plus 50% defense, and a plus 100% tenacity, and gains 10% turn meter whenever another Rebel ally takes damage. Wow, that's crazy, because I guess it comes in, and this is where kind of like the overpowered now becomes the kind of underpowered, because a lot of the times he's probably going to have that unique buff on his head, you know, that's probably going to be one of the first things that AI would use. So that's going to be something that user-based control that you may not use, but they definitely have 2 ways of how you could run Luke, and so far it sounds really amazing. His second unique ability, it binds all things. Luke has a plus 40% potency. Whenever Luke resists a detrimental effect, he recovers 5% health and 5% protection. Whenever Luke inflicts a debuff, he gains 10% turn meter and the other allies gain half that amount. Wow. Definitely powerful. He has a really good kit, and what's great about this on his unique, it doesn't say just rebel allies, it's just his other allies, so definitely that's where you could slot into other teams and give kind of like turn meter to anybody, and they're going to gain 5% whenever he inflicts a debuff. And what we know from his basic, that he can put debuffs down, he can also do it on his special as well and put tenacity down. There is definitely a lot to this character, and there's going to be lots of different ways that we're going to be using him. They even put out a kind of like general strategy. When Luke uses his special ability, Use the Force, is devastating, stripping all buffs and turn meter from the target and then preventing further buffs from being provided through buff immunity. So there's definitely going to be ways of, you know, how you're going to use him. I think he's going to be one of those characters that you're going to be able to use pretty much anywhere in the game, and I think he's going to be very powerful with the right mods as well, right teams. You know, you don't have to go all rebels, but I'm really excited for the reworks coming. So what is your thoughts on Commander Luke? Have you been able to get your kind of stuff together? Will you make it in time? You know, it's kind of like destined maybe for the around about the 10th of August or later. I guess the later it is, the better it is for everybody, but we don't know as of yet the certain dates. So let me know in the comments below, are you excited for Commander Luke? Or are you a little bit disappointed with the requirements if you haven't got our old Ben or R2-D2? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you very much for watching. I'm the Smithie D. May the Force be with you always.